And we're back. Round 3 of the organizational about to get started. Final match of round 2 is done. And we're setting up our features for round 3. Let's just talk with ABJ right now.
Just get him to mute his end because he's on stream.
Just mute yourself, ABJ, and turn on the share screen. We'll be good to go.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Perfect.
All right, sweet.
Get a look inside the back end of how these things go. Yeah, I got some matches lining up for some undefeated players. We got some backup matches lined up beginning of round 3. Pretty exciting. Been some really interesting games. Like you said, this crazy diverse field, 18 different deck lists registered in standard. Mm-hmm. You know, the days of Oko, Field of the Dead, all the bannings in standard seem to be done. We seem to be in a healthier place.
We've got a good format on our hands. It's going to be an exciting rest of the day. 2 rounds in the books already. We can take a quick look at our standings.
Well, it looks like we got 2 top 8 repeaters paired off as well. We have Chemist and Synop playing against one another. So those are undefeated
we're players. Black-Red Knights versus Bant mid-range. That's really going to put the Bant deck to the test.
That'll be tough. I mean, if it comes down to that Cavalier of Thorns, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like it's going to come down to that in that matchup. Although Elspeth Conquers Death looking a lot better against Black-Red Knights than the Sultai list, because your Elspeth Conquers Deaths can tag up the Rotting Regisaur, they can tag up a Spawn of Mayhem and Embercleave, right? Whereas the Sultai list just felt sort of dead in the water versus them. We see ECD in that matchup probably going to come through. So,
yep. The match we're going to be taking a look at this time around, though, is Blue-Red Flash in the hands of Sterling.
Boy, this is a throwback, but this deck I think is still probably pretty good. I mean, this is a deck that can just run away with games. It's really tricky. They can get it so you just never cast another spell. Mm-hmm. You know, we see a bunch of Quench, Dragfire. I assume, I don't know what Red's on here.
So
ABJ, but I assume Mono Red.
Yeah,
or some aggro deck.
Pull this up. It looks like we're on Jun Food.
Oh, wow, Jun Food. This is what he played yesterday in the WPN qualifier. I knew this actually, so...
Yeah, it'll be an interesting matchup. Blue-Red Flash is not a deck we've seen since the last format. It saw some popularity for a brief period of time, but really quickly fell out of favor in favor of the Simic Flash decks.
But this is a 2-0. 2-0 so far, right?
Yeah, 2-0.
Undefeated. I'm curious what the previous matchups. Maybe if we have time, we can get a quick winners interview afterwards, depending. Or not even winner, but player. But... at one point, even during a break, maybe I'd love to chat with this Blue-Red pilot, because I want to know how their other matchups went. This just isn't a deck we see very often, but 2-0, you know, I'm not sure how it'll do versus Food. This feels like a 2019 matchup.
Yeah. I mean, for the Food deck, in its favor is its engine pieces are all 1 and 2 mana spells, so could be able to slip under the counter spells on the blue-red side of the table, and establish that engine early, and it might be tough for the blue-red deck to be able to fight through all that card advantage.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Which is exactly what we saw happen in last format with the Simic Flash deck. The Flash decks just didn't have enough early interaction to deal with the cheap engine pieces out of the Jun Food deck, and Jun Food just got to prey upon Flash.
Yeah, and you didn't really see much Jun Food recently in Standard because of these new flashy cards, but I mean, the deck's still really good, so we should see how this lines up in the format versus it. I'm really interested. I think it's cool that someone registered this deck. I mean, you can never forget this deck can really kill you out of nowhere, actually. It's really tricky. Gadwick just does so much work in this deck because it lets you kill them out of nowhere.
All right.
Looks like our match is starting.
The match is getting underway, so let's get into it.
Blue-Red Flash versus Jun Food. Last Jun Food we saw on stream had a tough time hitting all of its engine pieces and still making its land drops. Again, really hungry deck, but this is the kind of hand that you want out of Jun Food. Holy smokes.
Perfect start for the Jun Food player. We have our Cauldron Filmaria, we've got our Gilded Goose, we've got our Trail of Crumbs, we've got engine pieces and an Agonizing Remorse to be able to start picking apart our Blue-Red Flash opponent's hand. This is, you cannot draw up a much better start.
This is an incredible. You said one of the keys to victory in this matchup is going to be getting ahead, getting out on the board, spewing your things up, and then grinding value afterwards. And we're hitting our land drops, we're hitting our engine pieces, we're losing frame rates, we're doing all of it. Again, look at our camera. It's not on our end.
Well, looks like Gilded Goose into Trail of Crumbs for UglyRed and Swiftwater Cliffs for Sterling to start the game off.
I wonder if you have the Scorching Dragonfire, if you just have to fire it off here. I don't know this deck. I'm going to be pretty useless at breaking down how I think the play pattern should follow here. Oh, the stream quality is like brutal.
Sterling has a perfect answer for the Gilded Goose as a stomp comes down and gets rid of that card. Looks like we're going towards Agonizing Remorse for UglyRed. We're looking at a lot of blurry pixels, but that's a Scorching Dragfire, a Brazen Borrower, and an Opt.
This Discord screen share is not working out too well. Okay, I got to tell this story while we can't see anything. So it's so funny because obviously people wouldn't know. I'm not like making fun of the fact that they wouldn't know, but we had a thing on the tournament that said like, are you capable of screen sharing? And I think a lot of people just say yes because you would assume yes.
Yeah.
When really, like, if you have a laptop, there's no way you can screen share and play Arena. Arena actually takes up so much memory. Like the program is really, really clunky. And so people probably don't realize. They think, oh, it's magic. It's simple. Like the program won't really eat into my screen share. But actually, if you don't have like a desktop that's pretty good, it's going to look like this when you stream. So
yeah.
Don't blame us. Look at our smiling, gorgeous faces. But we should still hopefully be able to read through like what's happening in this match. But that is a lot of blurry pixels. And we're on a 5-minute delay. I'm just looking at chat waiting, and like 2 minutes from now when people are like, my God, I literally can't see anything. Yeah, we gotta okay, the Brazen Borrower on the trail is like maybe a sign of things are feeling pretty desperate here for blue red, where again, like you said, if you just fall behind, it's almost impossible to come back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We might have to jump over to a backup match though because of this stream quality.
We might have to.
Yeah, we'll see how this game 1 plays out. But I think it's going to play out how you said, that Jun just preys on them here. I think they're going to be able to do exactly what they want. And the blue-red deck is going to have a tough time keeping up with this sort of value spew that's happening here. But I think we got to jump to a backup matchup. This is like unwatchable.
Yeah, I'm just going to...
Yeah. So those viewers, yeah, we know. We're going to switch to a different backup match. This is just completely unwatchable. Again, it's on the screen share end, not our end. We have no authority on this. Oh, wait. You can see things now.
We got a little bit.
Hold on, does it stay this way? The problem is that Jun Food also a high APM deck. It's a lot of actions per minute. It's just gonna lead to lost frames. This is a deck that even when you win with Jun Food, you usually know the game's been over for a long time. Oh, there we go. Looks like the stream is getting a little better. You know the game's been over for a long time, but you still have to play out all the actions. You got to click, drag, Witch's Oven, constantly like move things around. So it can be kind of weird with Jun Food, because the game's over, but it takes a while. Because I feel like when they get this engine, it's too much.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. We are missing a key part of the engine though, in Witch's Oven. So you're not going to be able to churn through as many cards as we don't have access to sacking that Cauldron Familiar every turn.
Yeah, that's
to get multiple activations out of our Trail of Crumbs.
Yeah, but I feel like this trail, just even if you were to just tap your mana to gain life every turn, would be huge. You'd get so much value that I'm not sure they can kill you in time.
Yeah.
But blue-red can produce a lot of damage. This is actually a lot closer than I thought because I feel like UglyRed's been drawing a lot of lands in the time that it was really blurry. It was hard to follow, but now things have seemed to gotten a little better. Not ideal, but we can at least read the screen now.
All right, looks like UglyRed's going to sack a food. Pay 1 for this Trail of Crumbs. Find a Mayhem Devil.
Hey, hello.
That is a missing piece.
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, this Mayhem Devil feels like it's one of the ways that you just if this thing resolves, the question is, can it resolve? But
only
if Mayhem,
2 mana up right now, so that to me represents a quench, which we have plenty of mana to be able to play around.
Yeah, I think you go for it because if this thing resolves, it's going to do so much work.
Fabled Passage, pretty good draw there as well.
Yeah, really strong. I think that
Get a
I think there's probably
free trigger off that Mayhem Devil.
probably a groan here from Sterling. Probably an audible groan if we were listening in, on Discord to how this game is going to go. But holy smokes, it's a rough one when Mayhem Devil gets to get any value. The card is busted, and you get this attack.
Yep. Yeah, like I said, we're just a witches oven away from this game being absolutely over.
Yeah, you got it. You can't block there.
No, you have to let the familiar come through. Don't want to give them any free sacks of food out of the graveyard.
They will just mow your entire board down.
Yep.
You lose your whole board if you block there. Matt, Food is a crafty deck. Just a sneaky deck. Because it's one of those things where they make intentional plays. They're not chump attacking for value.
Yeah.
Or to push through damage and get you later. They're doing it for an intentional play, right? They're not just going to serve for no reason. They always have a reason to do something. This deck has a lot of decisions, and it's so powerful, especially when they get the Mayhem Devil online.
Opt end of turn for Sterling. Looking for some way to answer this Mayhem Devil.
You got to find a way. I mean, they have access to things like Scorching Dragonfire. They have access to various removal spells. I mean, they're not dead. They can get out of this, especially that there's no oven. The problem is the early start with the Trail of Crumbs is just going to do so much work in making sure that UglyRed always has a constant flow of permanents to be able to do something with. So it should help quite a bit. So I'm curious to see how this will line up as far as Trail of Crumbs. But I think Trail of Crumbs is just going to bury Sterling. I don't know, though, like a late Gadwick could do it. There's lots of ways that Blue-Red can get itself back in the game here. And clearly Sterling knows the deck, knows the matchup, is undefeated currently in our third organizational.
Yep.
So as our tournament series continues to grow, I mean, how could it not? It's free and you would win prizes.
Who wouldn't want to play a free MTG Arena tournament from the comfort of their own home for real prizes?
That's what I'm saying.
I would absolutely be playing in this event if we weren't here casting it.
Yeah, we're just churning through these trails now. We're going to be able to buffer our life total. Oh, we got another trail. I mean, with just these cards on the board alone, we're already, the UglyRed's Jun Food list is already just going to just churn through so much value. We've gotten past that initial stage, right? That you said one of the keys to this matchup is that we get our early hand out of there, our early engine pieces. Yeah, sort of part of it got disrupted, right? We don't have the oven or whatever. We don't have everything, but we got enough early presence that from there we just sort of create value by having our deck churn through itself. And eventually they don't have access to that engine and their deck falls apart because they draw a land when they didn't need it, right? I mean, really the key here is going to be, I don't know if it's too late, drawing a Gadwick and slamming it for 4 or 5 cards and restarting, right? And trying to start managing this board again. You need to, step one, you got to get this Mayhem Devil off the board. You got to get this Goose off the board, and then I don't know, from there you got to deal with Trail of Crumbs somehow too, which is a Blue-Red deck. Getting enchantments off the board, not ideal.
Yeah, really only way to get a Trail of Crumbs off the board for Sterling is to bounce it with a Petty Theft and counter it on the way back down. So it's not the best exchange. Looks like the second Trail of Crumbs is going to eat a negate. So all's not lost yet.
That's what I mean about getting yourself back in. There's a shot here. There's a chance to get yourself back in this game, despite the really, really good start from Food. I mean, luckily for you, they don't have a safe window to play this Lily. They're being pretty safe, and that's actually giving you some time here to, maybe put some pressure on. But I don't know. Yeah, this Goose just sitting around with all this mana, right? We just see the power of Golden Goose, which is not a card actually that you see a lot anymore. But there was a time in Standard where it felt like turn 1 Goose was
everywhere.
Basically,
it was the place to be, or you were just goofing.
Yeah, it felt like it spelled the end of your game if they had Goose and you didn't. Turn 1 Goose, because as it sits around, it just creates and generates so much value on the back end, especially in a deck like this. And now we're starting to see, right, this Trail of Crumbs Goose Food that you don't need to kill him with Cauldron Familiar if you're just going to be able to grind out all this value as the game goes on.
Yep.
And we're seeing UglyRed here just churning away.
UglyRed sacks the food, points the 1 pointed damage towards the Bone Crusher Giant.
I wonder. Yeah. Where are we getting the next?
Going to sacrifice the other food as well. Still missing 1 point, though.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, where are we getting the next point from?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a misclick, and now we're just committed, hoping we find something. I respect that.
Maybe.
Thoughts on playing Bone Crusher Giant in your Jund food lists? Oh, wait, he's playing God Eternal Bantu.
Yeah, I'm not really sure you have the slots. It's
Crokies
tough.
was playing it. It looked sick.
Really?
Yeah, it looked really good. But I'm not sure. I don't play this deck enough to know whether it's actually good. It was just Jund food doing Jund food things with a shock thrown in. I can't tell. I guess
it's hard to say because so many slots in your deck are committed to making your sacrifice engine good.
Mm-hmm.
And you do have a decent amount of flex slots. So I guess if you're using all of those for the Bone Crusher Giant, it could be worth it. It really depends.
Those pings are looking so awkward now. We're getting the rope because of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just out here on the rope. It was so rough. Yeah, probably just a miscalculation on the amount of mana. I guarantee that's what it was. Just because he's off by 1 mana technically of creating enough food to sack them all and get value. It was literally a 1 mana mistake that UglyRed was off by 1 mana to be able to get the Crusher with the Mayhem Devil. It's just actually a 1 mana difference.
Yeah,
and it cost him so much. That could give Sterling a window back in this game.
Yeah, that 2 points of damage could matter. Petty Theft coming down on Mayhem Devil.
I wonder now, because if their hand has something like a Gadwick, and they're able to stop this Mayhem Devil from coming back down. But the problem is the Trail of Crumbs has been out for so long. It's collected so much value that, you only have 2 cards in hand. How are you going to stop, both this Mayhem Devil and this Liliana?
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
But maybe they just won't run it out, and you're safe. It's tough to say. Yeah. It's tough to play against this matchup. I mean, they have tons of counter spells. It's hard to tap out. Yeah, it's close, man. Blue-red is a lot more resilient than I thought it was.
Yeah, we have some hesitation here from UglyRed.
Yeah.
Mousing over that Thrashing Brontodon, now reconsidering maybe going back towards Mayhem Devil. The Petty Theft play makes me think that maybe there's an Ionize on the other side of the table, hoping to counter this Mayhem Devil on its way back down. So a lot to think about.
Yeah, and
a lot of options.
Yeah, of course, and neither of them really know anything because we're on a delay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like they can watch the stream and figure out what's happening. We're on a delay. I like this. I like thinking, well, he's got 2 cards left. If this Lily resolves, I probably just win the game. But and then using that food earlier to ping the Bone Shaker. If it had it, you could play around Quench. Oh man, that feels so bad.
That Quench devastating.
Actually, getting turn 9 quenched.
Ooh,
that's a rough one.
That's a tough one. Brazen Borer comes down off of Adventure.
There's got to be a Gadwick follow up here, I think, and if it is, it's insane. A Gadwick follow up just puts you back in this game, and this is a list that's playing 4 Gadwick. Mm-hmm. I could see Blue-Red coming from behind from an actual, because it felt like they were dead in the water this game.
Yeah, well, we're coming across for 7 points of damage now. Cauldron Familiar jumping in front of that Bone Crusher Giant. I mean, another Mayhem Devil.
Although.
We're not out of it yet.
Yeah, no.
The problem is, though, we're still missing that Witch's Oven.
Yes.
Whereas if we find that if UglyRed finds that Witch's Oven, I don't really think Sterling will be able to claw his way back in.
I agree. I think that turn, if they had 1 copy of their 4 of Gadwick, they could have ran away with this game if they had Gadwick there for 5 cards.
Yeah.
But now, because their follow-up wasn't anything.
Good turn here as we get to bring back the Cauldron Familiar by making a food with Gilded Goose, clean up this Brazen Borer when you find the Witch's Oven that we've been missing all along.
Really, oh man, this is all the pieces now.
Yeah.
I think Blue-Red had a window to sort of punish some of the decisions that were made by Jund Food in this case, but it's too late. They just their deck didn't cooperate on giving them the 1 card I think that they needed to refuel and get out of this position. I mean, the game isn't over, but it's really tough now.
Yeah.
It's really,
for
really
Sterling.
Tough.
We're in search of some removal spells. Top, something good. Let's see what it is.
This is a tough game. Wow. With Gadwick there, it would have been so much easier, but This Jun Food deck now I think has just created way too much value. Could be curious here if this is a card draw. We need a way to compete with the engine. You know, as Blue-Red, you need a way to compete with this engine. This engine is online now fully.
Well, there's a maxed out Gadwick. Gadwick for 5, going to completely restock the hand, but is it too late?
I wonder if it might be too late. Like I said, they needed it the turn before. If they'd gotten it the turn before, they were in the clear. But I have this bad feeling now.
This second Mayhem Devil is going to completely clean up the board.
Going to end the game.
Yeah.
I think the game just... Oh, my God.
Oh, man. Triple Mayhem Devil. Is this lethal?
Yes. Right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. No. It's short. But you can sack
3,
the
6,
Cauldron.
9.
And, well, yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, not sure. I think if you sack...
I think we only have 11.
You're short. It's short. It's not lethal. But it's a heap. I mean, what you can do here is just kill the Gadwick, right? Control the board.
Yeah.
And then you have that's what we're going to see. Jeez. That's what I said. We needed the Gadwick the turn before, because now we're just going to get... This is going to be a busted Mayhem Devil. Just literally unbeatable. You need Storm's Wrath. You need Wrath now is the only way out of this board.
I'm not even sure if Sterling has access to something.
No,
like
I don't think... Yeah, I'm just saying in general. I mean, the Wrath, I think, is the only way out of something this ridiculous. Yeah, I'm just going to go for the safe play here of just dominate the board, get in for some points of damage with a Mayhem Devil, get in some attacks, set up lethal from foods and from the Witch's Oven the next turn, where if they don't have a way to deal with these Mayhem Devil and get them off the board, they're just going to get mowed down. But it looks like this triple Mayhem Devil draw is going to come in huge to end the game.
Yep.
Wow, really close game 1, though.
It could have gone either way for a little bit. But
really close game 1. I'm impressed with Blue-Red, I gotta say. As a deck, I thought when I saw the opening, look at that opening hand. Remember? What was that opening hand? This game from Jun Food was unbelievable.
You could not have drawn it up any better.
It was actually the nut draw. Actual best possible 7, probably, even for this matchup, not just in general.
Yeah.
It had all the pieces, and this game was still really close. So... Yeah, I'm impressed with the Blue-Red deck. I can't wait to see the next game. This game 1's been wild.
Yeah, I mean, the real story of this game was just all these cheap engine pieces that Sterling wasn't able to deal with. The value of Trail of Crumbs.
But they tried. They stopped one. They tried to get all these it was really close. Really close. It's been a crazy game. But I think this triple Mayhem Devil's too much. You see Sterling in the tank now. Deep in the tank, trying to find it, figure out if there's a way out of this really, really grim situation. I'm not sure that there is. Oh,
Agonizing Remorse, pretty good draw here. See what's up.
Maybe we get to see what's up. Yeah, we might get to see what's up. Tough to say if this gets countered. I mean, we're looking at a deck with a billion. There it is, the Ionize.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
this game's over. The Mayhem Devil's coming in, and then
there's just no way. Like, I'm trying to think. There's no way.
If a removal spell gets pointed at the Mayhem Devil, the cat comes back, and then
yeah, there's just no way. There's too much here. I think he's tanking because he's trying to figure out a way, but
there's a Rouse Outburst.
It's just not enough. You just sack the cat now.
Yep,
it's locked. Yeah.
Cat comes back, 4 points of damage going to the face.
The APM on this deck is obnoxious. So much. This is why I won't play Jun Food on Arena, because in paper it's easier. You can shortcut it. Like, end of my turn, drain you for 1 with the cat,
Yeah.
But on Arena, there's too much clicking. I ain't got time for that. I'm here trying to grind. But man, Jun Food is it's a deck. And I think it's one of the cooler decks in Standard, actually. There's so much going on. There's so many moving pieces. There's so many decisions. I mean, look at this game. We saw that, and we know UglyRed's a good player. Actually, the winner of the very first organizational.
Yeah, actually, another returning champion.
Yeah, this is a returning champion of the very first organizational. Piloted a Grixis deck in that. One of the only people who just took a non-meta deck and ended up winning the whole thing in the original organization. And a great player. UglyRed is a Pro Tour competitor.
Yep.
But even here, made a critical mistake that could have cost him. You know, Jun Food is not easy to play. There's tons of moving pieces. It's a really difficult deck to play. But again, the resiliency found within that engine, right? The early engine that he was able to establish, completely impressive. Yeah. You'd even see here, not for this matchup. Oh, bringing it in, the Wildborn Preservers.
Yep. Adding in Disfigure, Duress, Croxa, heading into the main deck. Looks like we just want some cheap interaction. Duress to snag a counter spell. We're going to get some of our more expensive clunky cards out of the deck. Sideboard, 4 Sterling. It looks like we have 3 Aether Gust to negate, 3 Embereth, Shield Breaker, 2 Lava Coils, 3 Mystical Disputes, and 3 Flame Sweeps. I'd expect to see the Aether Gust, the Shield Breakers as well to be able to deal with Witch's Oven.
Yeah, absolutely. That's got to be what the Embereth Shield Breakers in the sideboard for.
Lava Coil as well.
Coffee went down the wrong hole there. It's killing me here. Might need to Heimlich on stream here to save me from where that coffee went. I've been chugging this stuff. Kay made so much of it. She made another pot. What was I supposed to do?
Yeah, we just not drink it, just leave it there.
No, I'm fired up for the DWC. I'm all hopped up on caffeine. Yeah, I don't know how to sideboard really in this matchup. I mean, I just would have no level of comfort playing against blue-red. This is a dark horse deck for this tournament, actually.
I mean, all these choices make sense to me. The Hand Disruption, the Croxa.
Absolutely. Wildborn Preserver.
Yeah, you get to play at instant speed. That thing gets pretty big and out of control real fast.
I actually like it a lot here. It's a really good card in Jun Food, right? It's a way that people have been dealing with Dream Trawler, right? But also it turns out that it has some, gets around counter magic, right? It has some other utility. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of rooting for blue-red. Only because it's such a dark horse choice, Yeah. Got to root for the underdog. If I'm going to reveal my bias, Plus, it would look bad if I was cheering for my actual other roommate, which is UglyRed. It would look bad if I was like, man, I hope my roommate Andrew wins. You know what I mean? So sorry, Andrew, I got to root for Sterling to make it fair here.
All right. Gilded Goose, Trail of Crumbs, 5 lands. Honestly, it's not great. But it might be a keep.
On the draw, I don't think you can.
Well,
I would keep this.
We've got the play set of Goose.
I would keep it. It's too troll not to keep. And I would keep it, and I would bin the cat. And just go for the quad Goose and try and get there on food and Trail of Crumbs alone.
We've got the whole engine.
My God. That's Witch's Oven's music. We just need lands. And this is over. Led with the Witch's Oven, which I like because you got to have that thing out there.
Oh, it eats a battle display.
Oh, if we miss, okay, though we hit a land, that's actually really good. You probably play the trail here to get around counter magic, right? It's tough. Yeah.
It looks like UglyRed agrees, gets the Trail of Crumbs into play.
Good decision. That's the card that won you the last game. That's the card that can bail you out of these horrible situations. Lets you refuel. Lets you do everything. One of the corner pieces of the deck that almost ensures Jun Food wins most long games. If they have multiple trails, it's almost impossible to grind them out, right?
Yeah. No,
without something like a planner cleansing. So
that was a very, very clutch battle display from Sterling, though.
Wow, we're just hitting all our land drops off the top.
Yeah, as ugly as that opening hand was, UglyRed is right in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole engine is practically assembled.
I wonder if you have I wish I could see how Sterling boarded. I'm curious if you want something like the Flame Sweeps we saw on the sideboard to clean up something like this. But the problem is the Trail of Crumbs. It's probably not good, right? They probably didn't bring it in.
Yeah, I mean, pretty clutch Scorching Dragonfire here to be able to get rid of this Cauldron Familiar for good. It's tough to say because Flame Sleep really just deals with Gilded Goose and then Cat, but putting that card in the graveyard doesn't
matter.
Yeah, so I think I would leave that card in my sideboard if I was in Sterling's seat. But
yeah, that Scorching Dragonfire there came in, really clutch, like you said. Yeah, really essential. The Exile Clause super important.
Yep.
Right, looking really good here. I mean, the thing is,
another land off the top.
Yeah, it's just going to come down to if this Trail of Crumbs can dig UglyRed out of this situation. We'll see. We'll have to see here if
we're going to be looking at a lot of cards with these gilded geese sacking these foods. So.
That's what I mean. We'll see if the power of this engine of just Trail of Crumbs and Goose can honk its way out of this problem. Yeah, it's going to be close. All right, there it is. You'll love to see it.
There's the goose we bottomed on turn 1.
On the mull. Yeah, hell yeah, we're paying 2 life. Get these goose out there. You got to play the other one. Come on. Imagine Sterling brought in Flame Sweep and you played out the 4th goose and you got flame swept. Oh Lord. That's blowout of the week. That would be blowout of the week, yeah. At least to this tournament.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think he brought in Flame Sweep. I don't think it does enough. Someone in chat mentioned that, yeah, they'd love to make it to one of these tournaments. Well, we're going to host them at least every season. But Cam and I were even talking on the way over here about doing ones for all the Discord members once a month kind of thing. Even if we don't stream it, or even if we do, and just start doing them more. They're really fun. Yeah. I love casting them. Yeah. Hopefully, maybe stay tuned and we'll get way more DWC tournaments out there. Mm-hmm. I'm happy to give out prizes.
2 of the goose have bit the dust.
Yeah, I'm in my time chatting about our own tournament. We actually saw quite a bit of action there, trying to keep the board under control, trying. Oh, man. But I wonder to what extent this could be a losing battle versus Trail of Crumbs. What a balanced card. Fair and balanced. Opting for the Mayhem Devil instead of the oven. What do you think about that one?
It's an interesting choice. We don't have the cat anymore. So I still think I would have leaned towards grabbing the witch's oven, but
I think if you can actually it's tough because you probably think, okay, I'll kill this goose, but they can just make another one and make food and sack right away. But I wonder if you just take the trade here to buy time. No, Mayhem Devil's way too important, right? It's one of your cornerstone pieces of how you machine gun the board. So I think you just relax, because I'm not convinced, if I'm the Jun food player, that they can ever beat Trail of Crumbs.
No, I agree with you. Trail of Crumbs is just so hard to deal with. But we have a lot of there's the witch's oven. We took the perfect card, I guess.
Wow. Jun Food's draws this game have just been.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a lot of a lot of creatures on the other side of the field. We can't really block these Bone Crusher giants profitably. There's no cat to hop in front of them and get sacked away with a witch's oven. So at 11 points of life for UglyRed, we might be in a point, even next turn, where we have to start blocking these Bone Crusher giants.
Yeah. Yeah, Bone Crusher looking massive on this board, where you could force a block from Mayhem Devil. This poor Embrace Shieldbreaker, though. Farewell, brother.
Shieldbreaker may not be long for this world.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one out here. If you can draw into another Embrace Shieldbreaker and get rid of this Witch's Oven, that's huge, though. But I think the Witch's Oven Trail of Crumbs is just going to run away with it, and it's so close. Yeah. This game was so close, too, and I think the food draws were super good here. Mm-hmm. But I don't know.
We kept the one lander.
And then curved out.
Yeah.
Yeah, curved out, played all our spells.
I don't think UglyRed has missed a land drop yet.
Yeah, you might be right. It's pretty close.
Same amount of lands in play.
Yeah, maybe they each missed one tops. But I mean, okay, well, I mean, that's a start. Assuming we have some blue spells here, right? This is why we're doing this.
Yep. Gadwick for 0, leaving 2 mana up.
Yeah, we're trying to force some blocks.
Opt's gonna tap down the Mayhem Devil.
Yeah, we're trying to force some blocks on the geese. I really like this.
Yep.
I think this is a really good play from Sterling. Really, really good.
Really just got to close this game out so this Trail of Crumbs can't get much value.
Because we are not beating it as the game goes on as Sterling. If you're from Sterling's side, I like the decision here. This is something, again, we talk about on the podcast all the time, right? When you recognize your role in a matchup. And I think that Sterling has been playing this whole game, recognizing their role as having to be the aggressor. You can't give them time. I couldn't stop the Trail of Crumbs. Right, their draw set up this engine way too early. My only chance is to play this Gadwick and start pressuring where I need them to chump block.
Yep.
And putting them in the abyss every turn is one of the only ways you're going to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
So I really like this play.
10 points of damage coming through.
I mean, 8. That Ember Shieldbreaker's gone. I mean, the problem is this engine's so powerful that UglyRed can simply sacrifice a food here, gain life, hit the Ember, maybe block 1. but we're going to get so much value here. And we're drawing multiple cards a turn. I just don't think it's fast enough.
Targeting the other Bone Crusher Giant.
Huh.
I guess this makes sense too. You sack the goose that's blocking the other Bone Crusher Giant, and then you sack the food that's created, and you still get to kill the Bone Crusher Giant.
Yeah, okay. I was just making sure we didn't have the same error that we had last game. Had to double check. Also, someone in chat asked, this is round 3. This is our round 3 pairings. We've had a bunch of matches though on coverage. That's why it might even seem like we're deeper in the tournament. It's a 6 rounds with a cut to top 8.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're going to be here getting at you with all the standard content all day.
Yeah, lots of Magic to get through today. Found a land off the next Trail of Crumbs activation. We're going to take down this Bone Crusher Giant.
Yeah, we're only taking
and only
2 damage.
2 points of damage coming through. Down to 12.
Oh, we get their last card. Wow. Wow, the John Food deck on this mulligan that looked horrible. Mm-hmm. This Malta 6 to start this game, if you were watching, looked awful, right?
Yeah, but 1 Forest, 4 Gilded Goose, Cauldron Familiar, Trail of Crumbs. Sent the 1 goose to the bottom.
Drew it anyway.
Drew lands for the first 5 turns of the game.
Just hit running lands.
And has been able to get value off this Trail of Crumbs.
Yeah, hit the mana it needed to be able to play the game it needed to play.
Oh, Brineborn Cutthroat is the last card. It comes in at instant speed, triggers the Gadwick, going to tap down this Mayhem Devil.
This is actually interesting because, I mean, yeah, there's 2 X1s that can get pinged down, but not having a cat, missing a cat here, that Scorching Dragonfire on the cat was really good. Yeah.
Right. Remorse takes us Scorching Dragonfire out of the graveyard, knocks UglyRed down to 11, and now we're in an awkward spot.
Yeah, this is why we see UglyRed pausing.
You can run back the same play you made last turn to be able to deal with another 3 toughness creature on your opponent's side of the field. You lose your goose in the process.
Yeah. It depends what this trail hits, right? If trail hits a Corvold, it just depends what hits here. Maybe you gotta go for the Gadwick here, right? I think maybe that's the play. You want to try and kill the Gadwick if you can, so they stop tapping your stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could be part of it. But we've had John Food on camera.
It looks like we're going to be 1 point short because we don't have an extra food to be able to sack by tapping the Gilded Goose. So
we can't kill the three toughness.
Takes down the two of the 2/1s on Sterling's side of the field, and Gadwick's going to get in for 3 damage. Ooh. Oof.
Is this going to be like last game where they just
Mayhem
ended with
Devil,
triple Mayhem Devil? That card just looked. Oh, do we have interaction though?
Ionize counters the Mayhem Devil and is going to tap down UglyRed's Mayhem Devil in
having
play.
the Ionize to finish. Wow. That's actually so good. But UglyRed can sack a food and go digging with Trail. They're still,
I mean, this game's not over.
This game's still alive. You got to start pinging face, though. That can't feel good.
Finds
and we're whiffing.
2 lands off Trail of Crumbs. Sterling, no cards in hand, 18 points of life. Yeah.
This is a close one. This is a squeaker. This is going to come down to top decks, but you always got to favor the Trail of Crumbs in this situation. But this is a squeaker. I wonder what he draws. He needs action, though. If you're on the side of Sterling, you got to get some action. You need some power here. Even if it's something like a Gadwick, you're just running it out for cards. But if it's an Ionize, it could be a game.
Finds an agonizing remorse off the top. Looks like it's a land in hand.
Yeah. Oh, but now we're at the point where we might have to sacrifice this Mayhem Devil. And we take 1 for this. I don't know.
Oh, it's so tough because you don't want to sacrifice it. You want it to trade.
Yeah,
so
now it's going to depend if they draw a blue spell, but this is a squeaker of a game,
if
man. Wow.
Sterling doesn't find a blue spell, you're forced to throw the Mayhem Devil in front of Bone Crusher Giant and go to 1 life.
Yeah,
doesn't look like there's a blue spell.
Yeah. Oh, you'd slam it if there was, or it's a counter. right? It
Yep.
could be something like a counterspell, which might also just lock up the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, really impressive showing, I think, from Blue Red this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beating a what looked like an insane mulligan to 6.
Mm-hmm. Found the answers when they needed it, was able to put just enough pressure on UglyRed. And now...
Well, we saw the Naked Bone Crusher Giants this game, right?
Yep.
Not from an adventure, just straight as the 3-mana 4/3 because, well, that's interesting.
Trail of Crumbs
Do
buys
we-
you another turn
Nope.
if this isn't a counterspell. That's an Ionize, and this game is over.
Wow, we're going to a game 3 of what's been a crazy matchup, actually. A little bit of stream quality issues from the frame rates on the screen share side, but yeah, wow, an absolutely impressive showing from Sterling to lock up this game.
Yeah, we've got to get a game 3. This has been a good match so far.
This has been a great match. It's been a long one, too.
It's been the longest round 1 main feature we've had so far.
Yeah, a lot of for round one, game 1 was mono red, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then black red Knights in round 2.
Yeah, we've
closing
had
those
some-
matches out quickly.
we've had some heaters, some blistering games, but this one was crazy. This was a wild game. Really impressive performance for Blue Red.
Yep.
Yeah, really. I thought they were so dead.
Yeah, it wasn't looking good.
Yeah, really impressive. So curious to see, but it felt like also though Food kind of got unlucky later. They really pulled out of the mulligan well, but if they had been able to find something like a Corvold, really one of these powerhouses, they would have been okay.
Yeah.
But the Empress Shield Breaker early was enough to buy enough time, slow down the engine that Blue Red was able to fight.
What mattered the most that game was a Scorching Dragonfire on
On
that
that
Cauldron
cat.
Familiar.
On that naked cat, which was enabled by the Embreth, right?
Yeah.
Because he was able to kill the shield. Then when the shield's down, was able to Scorching Dragonfire. Just really, really good sequence of plays from Blue Red.
I mean, if that cat was still around,
The game's over. The game's so over
yeah,
because the Mayhem Devils and the cat are going to just do way too much work with the trail, and there was it's just completely over. Yeah, I'm so curious to see how
right.
this goes.
UglyRed on the play for game 3. This is a good hand.
I would keep this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep this for sure. The
can't
goose is
play-
a little awkward.
You
but
can't play the goose on turn 1, but you have a Fabled Passage, so you have that green mana.
You can just get the oven in play. Maybe. It's gonna hurt.
Lots
if it
of
gets,
options. You can lead with Duress to see what's going on in your opponent's hand before deciding to stick that oven.
Looks like Blue Red is taking a mulligan. Sterling taking a mulligan here in this really close mulligan.
Ooh, another
5.
mulligan.
You hate to see it.
Yeah.
In what's a really tight matchup, a really close matchup, but this Duress on a mull to 5, if it hits, like if Sterling has non-creature spells in his hand or their hand, I don't know, but and it hits, if this Duress actually tags, we're on a mull to 4 and this game's over.
Yeah.
I'm Duressing. Well, I might wait actually. I'd go oven and then Duress them.
UglyRed goes for the Fabled Passage, wants to be able to cast this Gilded Goose on turn 2.
Because then you can just go Goose Duress.
Yep.
You've given your opponent more time to draw more cards, which makes your Duress maybe a little better, so you don't whiff. But we'll see. They might even just Goose Oven. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Wow, this is gonna be a tough one for the Blue-Red deck.
Yeah, Blue-Red really needs all of their cards in a matchup like this if they're going to be able to fight through the card advantage engine that Jun Food puts forward.
Just getting oven get that oven out there safely.
Yep.
Yeah, because even your Duress doesn't stop the Empress Shield Breaker, right? So if they're gonna shield break it, they're gonna shield break it now. So we'll see if there's a shield breaker here. I do believe they had 3 in their sideboard.
Yep.
Yeah, and I assume you bring them all in. So
There's the battle display.
We're on a mull.
First Witch's Oven down.
But the problem is, as the Blue-Red player, you're on a mull to 5, and they got the second oven. And that oven might just be too much. Man,
No cat, no Trail of Crumbs.
I mean, there's a plus side. There is a plus side. But man, cat oven, its permanents are just so sticky, so resilient. It's tough. It's tough to play against it. I almost thought we were going to get the attack for 0 there. It looked like it, and I'm depressed we didn't. But no real play, no real follow-up. This buying time might give Blue-Red a way back in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the most important part of this engine, Trail of Crumbs, has not been seen yet. So, although Sterling has mulled to 5, this match is far from over.
Oh, absolutely. Wow, the Naked Gadwick.
I mean, that to me shows weakness in my opponent's hand. I mean, they are on a mull to 5. That's bound to happen. I'd be a lot more.
I'm pretty happy. I'm relieved because I think they don't have any counter magic and they can't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Finding that blood crypt there is nice, as we get to cast this Duress and this Murderous Rider if we want to.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we
leave that
we
for-
need a red source, right? For Mayhem.
Looks like UglyRed's going to hold on to this Duress for another turn.
I don't mind this actually. I like holding the Duress maybe to wait until you want to resolve something, right? It's 1 mana now.
Yeah.
You're ahead on mana. You don't have to worry. They probably just counter the Duress and then whatever resolves. It's pretty smart actually. This is something that I think a lot of people would make the mistake on, it just firing off the Duress just cause, but you don't need anything to resolve. So why try and beat their top decks? Just wait, and then that way if they top deck after you Duress them, it doesn't matter because you just waited until you want to resolve something. So I actually like this play. It's safe. Your hand's also not very good here as UglyRed.
All you have is that Duress.
Right. Like and your 2/3 lifelinker, it's it's not really doing anything. That's tough, Losing this Wildborn Preserver is a big part of what your game plan can be too.
But, I mean, we have the Witch's Oven, so that Bone Crusher Giant is not going to head on an adventure. It goes right to the graveyard.
Yeah, that's important. That's a big part of it too. This Witch's Oven doing a lot of work, and we had the follow-up Witch's Oven as well. And, of course, Blue-Red's still stuck on 3 lands. Tough mull to 5, but I think playing this game really well, fighting to win.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's a tough one.
This UglyRed is just a cat away from blowing this game wide open.
Oh, yeah. Or even just a trail.
Yep.
Even a trail just sends this game.
One of the 2 other engine pieces.
Mm-hmm. It's close.
This Gilded Goose hasn't really done much since it came down on turn 1. It's really at its best when you have that Trail of Crumbs in play.
But I mean, it can start if we just sort of do nothing. I mean, Gilded Goose can start just sort of grinding value as time goes on. Recognizing from Blue-Red, they need some pressure. They're not being pressured. I mean, if they're just going to play Geese, and a 2/3, well, okay, we can win the board.
Yep.
So I like this from Sterling, not trying to waste his mana and his entire turn to cast a 2-mana shock. Avoiding that in the modal decision, that bait, of getting your value, not always necessary when you're going to lose the game for it. So I think really recognizing the value here and just having a board presence because, look at your opponent's 1 engine piece away from ending the game essentially on you. So you got to start attacking.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them do this last game as well. Got to establish a clock, start attacking. And yeah, a Gilded Goose off the top for UglyRed this turn is, not what you want to see. And, also a consideration if we look down at the bottom left of the screen, UglyRed, 6 minutes, 30 seconds left on their clock.
Oh, yeah, they might get timed out. I haven't even seen that in an arena tournament before. Actually, once I've seen it happen in a game in arena, but unusual.
Mm-hmm. Junk Food does not win very quickly.
Yeah, you could go for the timeout. You could go for the clock.
6 minutes, 6.5 minutes is a lot of time on arena, so
It is, for sure.
I wouldn't be too worried, but it is something to consider.
I'm going to feel bad if he's laggy or something because he's screen sharing with us. We just time him out.
I don't think that's a consideration.
I don't think so either. Now I'm so curious. Like, I think you just start making Gilded Goose food though. And if you
can't. You only have the 1 forest that was tapped.
Oh yeah. All right, you just gotta go after their hand now, right?
Now that you have 2 removals, 2 discard spells, I think you definitely go for the Remorse here, as it can tag an adventure creature if there's another one lurking around in your opponent's hand.
Yeah, this is. I think Sterling is probably thinking about, oh, wow, their hand was pretty strong. Losing this Gadwick is such a tragedy. Because they're just going to take your Gadwick and then take your Scorching Dragonfire. Well, actually, if you Duress here, they just Scorching Dragonfire your Murderous Rider in response. And then they have attacks. I don't even think you play the Duress.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense to hold it. Continue on the game plan of trying to stick through a bigger threat if you draw it off the top.
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind if I'm Sterling here firing off this Scorching Dragonfire EOT. And then you have attacks. And then you're actually allowed to attack. It unlocks the board for you. Mm-hmm. Because now your Embereth Shield Breaker and your Bone Crusher can attack, which is, I think, what you have to do. You're sort of committed to this game plan, which I think probably the correct game plan. But yeah, I'm just not sure how they'll want to manage this. Yeah, they elect to wait, which I'm not sure. Maybe seeing what their draws are, of course. There's nothing wrong. If you draw land here, it doesn't really change what happens.
Yeah, you don't have much going on anyway, so
Yeah, so you draw land here. It doesn't really change anything because now you get to blow up a Witch's Oven and cast this if you really want. This is just a free attack. This game's close. Wow. This game is really tight.
yeah, I'm UglyRed still just one piece away from blowing this game open. Battle Display gonna take down the second copy of Witch's Oven.
Yeah, I think you got to just let this resolve probably. I don't know if you can sack anything. You're bored. You only have Oven. You need a cat. You need Trail.
Yeah,
Then this game ends, but
I like keeping both geese in play
yeah.
at the moment.
It's funny that keeping this duress ended up actually kind of punishing in some ways. It's a kind of unlucky, but yeah, it's close. It's really close. Oof, rough draw.
Another whiff off the top of the deck for UglyRed.
Pretty ugly draw there for old UglyRed.
Yeah.
Pretty ugly. That's rough. Because now, you can gain life if you want to spend your mana doing that every turn. But yeah,
Honestly, now might be the time to Dragonfire away that Murderous Rider.
I'm 100% Scorching Dragonfiring that Murderous Rider. I'm 100% doing it. Because you can actually attack. They're at 9. They have to start using food to stay alive. Which, if you can get the Jund food deck to spew away food just to gain life, and not any other value out of it, I think that's what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Sterling elects not to, but I'm not sure if that's the correct decision because I think this is a greeting pretty hard when they have a Witch's Oven in play because if they draw a cat, you're in so much trouble. Whereas those attacks there would have been free.
Mm-hmm.
I really would have attacked. But they're gaining there, we see UglyRed sacrificing food. But yeah, I think you gotta Scorching Dragonfire that Murderous Rider. Sure, they're gonna sack it and get a food, but they don't have a Trail. They don't have a cat yet. Yeah, maybe saving it for something like this. But now the problem is you lose both your Embrace and they never got to attack.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas previously, if we had just killed the Murderous Dragon, we would have had 2 turns of attacking, right?
Yep.
This game might have been a completely different shape, but now...
And this Mayhem Devil might be too late.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it's tough. I'm not sure waiting was correct on the Scorching Dragonfire. Obviously now, with the knowledge we have, and we have full knowledge of what's in UglyRed's hand, we know it was probably not correct. But yeah, it's tough. It's so hard to say whether without perfect information you'd make that decision. Yeah, really tough. It's a really tough turn, but this is a tough one now. That's just too much food.
It's going to be a lot to fight through.
This is just so much food, and they just get to mow down both your Embrace Shield Breakers here with the Mayhem Devil. Well, saving that duress worked out.
Yep.
Really patient play on that duress. Really patient play to ensure that, because if you're saving that Scorching Dragonfire, well, you know what, we can say one thing for sure: Sterling ain't ghosting. Because if you were ghosting, you would have fired off that Scorching Dragonfire because you're going to get duressed if they draw something that you can scorch it, which is the Mayhem Devil, which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So big F's to Sterling, no matter what. I'm still rooting for the blue-red deck. Wait.
Yep. Sacks of food, uses the 2 mana floating to sack another food.
There it is, yeah.
And Bone Crusher Giant hits the bin.
This is over. Yeah, so close. If Sterling, this is on a mull to 5 from Sterling. If they had had perfect information, I actually think they would have stole this game. But a really, really, really patient holding of that duress that was in the opening hand.
Yep.
For UglyRed on Jund Food ended up keeping this Mayhem Devil in play, which has now allowed UglyRed to completely turn the game around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really critical decision here that just completely warped the shape of the game, allowed UglyRed, I think, to steal the victory here. Of a game that looks pretty tough, actually, if Blue-Red had played a little differently. But, again, no perfect information. You don't know. Super close
you
game.
say steal the victory, but 17 points life on the other side of the table, 2 minutes, 30 seconds on UglyRed's clock.
Ah, that's true. We might get clocked. You're right. Yeah. I mean,
it's not over.
Do we see this as a way that this game ends?
It could very well happen. Corvold's, maybe not.
No, hold on. There's got to be an ionize in that hand. I wonder. Imagine this game ends from a clock.
UglyRed taking an awful amount of time to think about their plays right now.
You can't.
You don't have that much time.
Oh, my Lord.
Doesn't play the Corvold.
1 minute and 50 seconds. This is actually wild. I've never seen this. This is actually like a thing that needs to happen in Paper Magic. You need a chess clock because people who play like no white no win condition blue white, or like one Dream Trawler in the mirrors. This solves this issue. You just get punished for doing it. But this was just a grindy games. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was particularly slow play. There wasn't roping. I mean, as you can see on the screen.
Yeah, both players have 2 timeouts.
They have 2 timeouts. This was just an insane match.
Yeah.
From games 1 to 3.
Ooh, Gadwick.
We are live to actually play the game.
There's a window for this Corvold.
He might actually steal this based on time. If there's an opt here and you can just...
UglyRed's clicking through awfully slow. I don't think he realizes he's low on time.
He might not realize that he's about to time out. There's no way. There's no way you're sacrificing food.
Oh, no.
Oh, the trail, but it just doesn't matter. That's not how you're winning.
Oh, no.
This is such
Adam. Oh, no. He's going to time out.
I don't know, man.
Oh, there's so many triggers.
No, I think he can kill him. The trail just doesn't matter. But can he get enough pings to kill the Gadwick and then kill him the next turn? But if the Gadwick lives...
You could have killed the Gadwick this turn if he had pointed that first trigger at the Gadwick.
I think you had to kill the Gadwick because now you're going to lose on time. Mm-hmm. Now I think Gadwick protects you for long enough that you win on time. Actually an insane match if this is how this ends.
Yeah. He doesn't realize.
He has no idea that he's about to time out. This might be one for the history books. Maybe he hasn't. No, there's no way, right?
If there are no blue spells that can be cast at instant speed in Sterling's hand, this Corvold doesn't get to attack.
Well, if the
Corvold does attack,
it's over.
Then he might be able to win in the 27 seconds he has left.
Man, what a sweat. Oh. No, he's going to have the counter magic. I don't know if you cast this into an ionize.
He's going to run out of time.
He's going to run out of time.
He's out of time.
Because of this decision.
Oh, no.
Oh, because you don't know if you can make enough to sack to kill. Because if it taps, what if he only has counter magic?
And that's it. Counting down.
Yeah.
The game's over.
Wow.
R.I.P. UglyRed. Eating the defeat. Timing out. Round 3 feature match.
What the fuck?
You timed out. You timed out, man. Oh.
Okay, such a beating. Such an actual beating. I kind of love that was on chat through the Discord. Okay.
Oh, man. Honestly...
I'm sorry, that's actually incredible. I know, I feel so bad because he probably took time to fix the screen share issue when it was really blurry and pixelated, and I wonder if that ate too much into the time or he didn't realize that the timeout was going to happen on Arena. It does give you a flashing warning, but yeah. No, that deck, man, there's so much APM in that deck. You have to do so much clicking. I cannot believe that we ended a match like that. Dude, blue-red undefeated. Actually insane. Oh, man.
Looks like there's only one more match going on.
Actually a massive Papega loss, though. Actually so brutal. Oh, man. I hope that wasn't from a screen share issue, but actually ridiculous.
Damn. Well, that just about wraps up.
Cut the call, too, because you're I don't want to listen. Somebody, what the fuck? This is a family-friendly stream, sir.
that about wraps up this round. If we can hop right over to our standings, as we have some results in for the match right now. Let's take a quick look.
Yeah, of how things are going here.
On top of the standings right now, we've got P. Sam's 3-0 on Mono Red.
Well, he's lost one game.
6-1 record overall. We've also got Unversed at 3-0. Unversed looks to be on
Bant, I believe. Yep.
Bant mid-range. Another Bant mid-range atop the standings.
2 Bant mid-range at the top. Yep.
Synot, third place, Bant mid-range.
And he has Sideboard on in 4th place at 2-1.
Mm-hmm. The rest of our 2-1s.
Yeah.
We've got, looks like Black Red Knights took out its first loss that round.
In that round, yeah.
I believe Sideboard is the match that isn't finished yet.
One of the last ones that's still ongoing.
Nope.
No, this is a different
they're
one.
actually done. We're still waiting on the result from Silvercoat and SMS.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
However you pronounce that.
Whatever that is, yeah.
So we'll have one more 3-0 at the end of this round.
Yeah. Let's get some undefeated matchups. So whatever the undefeateds are, yeah, it should be interesting because there's 2 Bant decks at the undefeated. This was a deck that I, last night, talking to Cam, actually, and UglyRed, and when we were standing around the kitchen at our house chatting about Standard, I said I thought that Bant was probably one of the tier 1 decks. I think it has a super good matchup across the field. I think I haven't looked as closely at Unversed's list, but Synot's list, I think, showed up really teched for the mirror. This one's a little slower. This one's probably better against the other Bant decks or control decks.
3 Dream Trollers in the main deck.
That's why I say this, and maybe it has a chance versus Mono Red because that still has Grazers. I think both these Bant lists, although they're very different, are pretty good against the field. I think both these players showed up with really good Bant lists that are powerful against the field.
Yep. Yeah, we have less 1-mana plays, no Gilded Goose in this list. No Dovin's Veto aside from the sideboard, just 2 copies, where I think Synot came prepared with a full 4 copies this weekend. Let's take a quick look at his list. Yeah. 1 copy in the main deck and 2 copies in the sideboard for 3 copies for Synot.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. Yeah. I think that it's hard to say which one I like more. They're both really teched out. I think I like this at Thassa's interventions. I'm curious how they are. At one point, hopefully we can do an interview with some of the players when we don't run out of time, and Synot can maybe talk about Thassa's intervention or some of the really teched out choices in this list. I'm really curious about some of the decisions made.
No Cavalier of Thorns in Unversed lists.
Cavalier of Thorns looked like a house on coverage.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, while we're waiting for these last matches, we want to take a quick break and line up our feature matches for round 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. It's been a fun day so far. We're going to hop on a quick break, and we'll be back with more action for round 4 of the DWC Organizational.
See you in a bit.